Mark Rogers TV with you once again. Week 5 of our college football predictions. We were 19-0 straight up last week. We were 16-0 straight up 2 weeks ago. We understand that most of those games were complete give-me's, the Miami, Savannah State type games, but still, 35 consecutive games straight up, 19-0 last week. We were 11-8 against the spread. Decent week against the spread last week, about 57-58%. Our goal is 60% against the spread. We did miss our one confidence pick. Michigan minus 18.5 against UConn. And we have missed, sound the alarms, 3 consecutive confidence picks. We brag about our confidence picks. We let you know that you should be keying in on the confidence picks because we went 21-9 2 years ago against the spread, 25-12 against the spread last season. This year, despite the 3-game losing streak, we are 7-4 in our confidence picks. So listen up, we've got plenty of those. And we almost had one more. We want to talk about the Texas A&M Arkansas game. This was very interesting that Texas A&M came out. The line opened at -3, and I jumped all over that. I thought, this is my confidence pick of the week. Texas A&M -3 at Arkansas. Arkansas just lost to Rutgers by 4. Okay, the line was taken off for days. I did some investigation trying to find out what is going on with this line. It opened at 3. I expected this thing to be 2 touchdowns. It opened at 3, was taken off the board for days. It finally reemerged at 15.5. Okay, I thought I had an easy confidence pick there, but Vegas got it right. It's now at 15.5, Texas A&M. Arkansas is at home. We're going to take the Hogs with a bad defense by Texas A&M to keep it somewhat close. Certainly could see Texas A&M winning this game by 30, but we're going to take the Hogs plus the 15.5 there. Okay, Florida State and Boston College. We were thinking about this as well as a confidence pick. We think Florida State's going to roll in this game. Noles minus 21.5 over BC. Washington-Arizona. The Huskies have looked so good, especially the outing at Illinois and especially the game at home against Boise State winning 38-6. We like Washington to continue the roll against Arizona. The Wildcats facing their first test of 2013. Washington minus 9.5. Oregon-Cal. Will the Ducks explode? Of course they're going to explode, but will they hang on for a plus 36-point victory? Right now the line at 36.5 against a Cal team that got drubbed by Ohio State as expected. Lost to another game to Northwestern by 14. This is their first road game after their only win against Portland State by 7. We expect Oregon to roll. Cal could score 20-25 points in this game, but we expect Oregon, against possibly the worst Pac-12 defense, to score 60+. Oregon minus 36.5 over the Golden Bears. Listen to our post. Watch our post that we had with Cal head coach Sonny Dykes on the Oregon matchup. Oklahoma-Notre Dame, maybe the best matchup of the week. We've got Notre Dame at home. 3.5-point underdogs against Oklahoma. Of course, the Irish went to Norman last year and really took out Oklahoma, really pounded the football in the running game and stopped the run and made life miserable for Landry Jones. These are 2 very different football teams this season. We like Oklahoma to win it, but razor close at Notre Dame. Irish keep it close with defense and special teams, and so we take the Irish plus the 3.5 points. Clemson-Wake Forest, we like the Tigers to explode this week. Last week held down by North Carolina State on the road 26-14. Clemson, of course, one of the best offensive football teams in the country. Go to Wake Forest and win big. Actually, that game at Clemson, so we especially like the Tigers here, minus 27.5. Confidence pick here. South Carolina going on the road out of conference against a very good Central Florida team, but the line is just 7 here. We really believe in SEC defense and South Carolina's front 7 on defense in particular, and the running game we saw against North Carolina, very similar to Central Florida on defense, where South Carolina pounded them with Mike Davis running the football. Connor Shaw is going to make the right reads, and he's dismal to try to deal with in terms of running the football, finding lanes as the quarterback when things break down in the passing game. So South Carolina minus 7 over Central Florida. That's a confidence pick. Okay, we've got Florida and Kentucky. No Jeff Driscoll for the rest of the season for the Gators. Burton took over last week against Tennessee, led the Gators to a victory. Of course, Florida's got one of the top defenses in the country, and that's what we're going to rely on here. Dismal offense, Very strong defense playing at Kentucky. Wildcats don't have much to show us right now. Florida wins this football game, and despite the lack of offense, cover 12.5 points at Kentucky. Like the Gators in this one, like 26-10. Stanford-Washington, Washington State. The Cougars with the impressive win over a punchless USC team at the Coliseum 10-7. Washington State took Auburn to the fourth quarter, lost by 7 on the Plains. So Washington State off to a great start considering their dreadful 2012 showing. Stanford, though, one of the top teams in college football. My only reluctance here is that Stanford obviously usually doesn't pace teams, even against Army. They went to Army, only won that game 34-20. But we like Stanford as the much stronger, more physical football team, and they've got the element of big playmakers on the outside more so than they have in recent years. So we like Stanford -10, even though the game's on the road in Pullman, Washington, over Washington State. Oklahoma State, West Virginia. West Virginia, what has happened to this program under Dana Holgorsen? They have fallen apart the latter half under Geno Smith in 2012, and that's carried over this season. Beat William and Mary by 7, got pasted by Maryland last week, 37-0. This is an 18.5 point spread on the road in conference. We typically don't like that type of scenario, but Oklahoma State scores a ton of points. West Virginia struggled mightily on offense. They scored just 7 against Oklahoma, and again, the 24 against William and Mary. Nothing shutout against Maryland. We like Oklahoma State to win big and cover the 18.5 points against West Virginia. Ohio State, Wisconsin, premier game in the Big Ten. The Buckeyes and the Badgers played to overtime last year. The two things we like in Ohio State's favor in terms of the Buckeyes possibly opening it up against Wisconsin is that they've got more playmakers on offense with Dontre Wilson and also Jordan Hall staying healthy this year against Wisconsin, something they did not have last season at Madison. Check out our video post on Ohio State, Wisconsin. Badgers limited in the passing game, and that will hurt them in this game. We know Wisconsin will show up and come to play. They'll be fundamentally sound. They'll do all the right things, and they will play 60 minutes. But we like Ohio State in this game, 31-20. Check out, and once again, our video post for more analysis on the Buckeyes and Badgers. Take the Buckeyes minus the 6.5 at home. Bama-Ole Miss. This is a very intriguing line at 14.5. We think the odds makers have it right where they need it. This one a tough call to make. But Ole Miss, for the first time in a long time, can match Bama at most positions in regards to sheer talent. Not necessarily experience or obviously big game exposure and experience and playmaking and productivity in those situations, but the first team. Ole Miss is going to suffer when it comes to depth, along the offensive and defensive lines in particular, and possibly in the kicking game as well, where they're still a bit thin. Bama wins it, but they continue to struggle in the running game and making the blocks on offense and protecting their quarterback, A.J. McCarron, and in blocking for the run. So we like Ole Miss to keep it close, take the Rebs plus the 14.5, take Bama to win the game outright. We've got one more confidence pick, actually two more, but this is the next one, Miami and South Florida. South Florida's been hideous. Check out the line scores. They're 0-3. They're getting blown out across the board by inferior football teams to Miami. The Canes are on a roll. We know Stephen Morris is possibly hobbled following the injury last week in the win against Savannah State, but minus 18.5. Regardless of who's playing quarterback here, we like Miami to cover 18.5 against South Florida. Fresno State and Hawaii, kicking off in Hawaii past midnight. We like Hawaii to keep it close enough. Fresno State giving up a ton of points. They're in the top 25 after starting off at 3-0, but gave up 40 to Boise State, like 51 to Rutgers of all teams. So Fresno State's going to give up some points. Hawaii's been not great on offense, not giving up a ton on defense, though. They have lost some football games, but we expect the Rainbows, the Bows, to keep it close here at 18.5. Fresno State wins the game. Final confidence pick here. This is a complete hunch. USC's been horrible on offense for the most part. If you saw the Utah State game, couldn't run it, couldn't throw it, scored 17 points because of the defense mainly setting up field position, beat the Aggies 17-14. USC's defense, though, one of the best in college football. Their defense has been rock solid this year. It's back to being a USC defense, not what we saw the latter half of 2012 when they just didn't want to stick their nose in it, get dirty, and tackle and hit people and swarm to the football. They are hitting, they are running to the football, they're inspired on defense. USC is going to pull the upset off at Arizona State. We were not impressed with the Sun Devils on the road against Stanford. We know that this football team is much different at home. They're in Tempe, but even a couple of weeks ago, they should have lost against Wisconsin. Obviously, the controversial play at the end and the officials screwing things up, and we'll never know what happened. But the Badgers just a field goal away, sitting with the football at the 16-yard line away from beating Arizona State in the desert. So we like USC to make the short trip, win the game. So we'll take the 6.5 points as well with USC and Arizona State. And finally, game of the week, LSU and Georgia. Big game in the SEC. The Tigers are off to a great start. Georgia lost the one game against Clemson, rebounded with the critical in-division win against South Carolina. We posted a video on this. Please check it out because we really broke it down in regards to how we see this game playing out and the key matchups. LSU and Georgia, number 6 versus number 9. We like the Tigers to win it. We love the LSU defense versus the Georgia defense having some holes and a lot of youth in trying to deal with Zach Mettenberger and mostly Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry on the outside. We like the Tigers to win this one. So we will take LSU plus the 3. Those are our picks. We want to hear your picks now, right here on Mark Rogers TV and ProFootballCentral.com.